this OBS thing out. Welcome, everybody. We are having our open mic. I didn't know if I'm going to get a packed house or a small house, so we might be having 2 rounds of readers. But right now, if you go to the link that is pinned in the description, that is how you get in to read. You come in, you'll be in Google Meet. Mute yourself, please, because anything you say will come over the screen. And yeah, I can't think. I had a big list of important things to say, and I have forgotten all of them. But I'm really excited to do this. The whole point of this show, starting, like 2 years ago, was to be able to do a live reading, like live open mic, because I was missing them. And I had just had one closed down because of COVID, as you all might remember that long ago time. But it's taken me this long to figure it out, and I have to give a shout out to Timothy Green over at Rattle. He's the one that finally told me the secret sauce to get this to work. So, and Rattle is going to be tomorrow at 7, I think. Anyways, if you look in Opportunities, the link below, you'll see when the next Rattlecast is. And they also have an open mic, and it's pretty awesome. So, I think that's it. I think I thanked Timothy, and yeah, readers, as you come in, if you mute yourselves, and let's get going. All right, I'm going to read really quickly, and then we're going to start doing the rounds, and we'll see who is coming up. And I believe it is going to be Alex S. Johnson will be reading first. All right, and then I will go ahead and start. And this is about living in Brazil. And it's called The Grass Really Isn't Greener and Other Misconceptions. And it's a high bun. And I have been all about the high bun lately. The house builders next door laugh in Portuguese, a lyrical joy that emanates from their leathery souls to burst forth from sweaty brows, toil and trouble, sparking in the fire-roasted afternoon. They balance on the sharp brickwork, antique flip-flops, somehow impervious to drop nails and jutting wire. Weathered, lanky panthers, the old men haul buckets of sand across warped boards, oblivious to the fresh concrete mortality that waits should they slip, not minding the clouds of mortar dust that envelop their heads, not worrying about the carcinogens, the calories, in the next moment. Practical enlightenment attained between paychecks, the burdens of the day set down with sunset, operating in the moment. And I listened to their laughter from the shadow of the churrasqueira. My Portuguese sucks. My feet privileged to walk on cool tile, my burden freshly washed laundry. I balanced the plastic bin on my hip, a fat house cat patted from many treats. This moment, my head is full of tasks that stretch ahead for years, a predestined path punctuated in deadlines, hemmed in with my own self-importance in stark, scheduled milestones. From this shaded castle, I worry about carcinogens, calories, and the next moment, and the tasks that link up like dominoes, interdependent. One tremor and my plans risk collapse in an orderly fashion, chaos in neat rows of failure. I envy the joy, so I try to laugh in English, a musicless noise, stained dark from sarcasm and wit. Impractical enlightenment attained between accolades, the burdens of my day preset with coded notifications, operating in internal projections. But who is to say when life is better or not? We envy the same. And that was the poem that resulted as me watching the house builders next door and actually being jealous of them because I had like too many deadlines piled up, too many things, and I'm jealous of them, and it just kind of occurred to me that they're probably looking at me in my nice air-conditioned house and also jealous. And so, I guess appreciate what you've got is the moral if we have to have one. But now, for the really exciting stuff, let's hear from Alex S. Johnson. And please feel free to promote yourself and talk about the inspirations of your poems. And this is your time.
Okay, this poem is actually it's a genre that that I created, and it's a long story, but it has to do with an anthology that I was working together actually with Pixie on, and it's an eco horror anthology, and it kind of evolved into a genre I call eco snuff because I am, legitimately concerned, as many of us are, about, um, the biological apocalypse. And so, without further ado, this poem is called Denatured, the Triumph of Eco Snuff, with a wave of the Gregor feelers to Pixie Bruner. 1. Night glimmer of structural surreal. As the bee eyes of the dark moon saints stab with their optic knives, a thriving colony pierced down through the riverbed, biofilm sprocketed, mountains and wound down tunnels running red, that wiggles feelers in the feels, fur, feather, two-scale models of the reptile brain with bed hair in the grim boudoir, where the crimson king reigns forevermore. 'Tis pity she's a whore. 2. Circle saws of angel, arc lights, wings majestic that blew through the crass ceiling right to the powers of the air, that blew like sainted sinners on their knees on Victorian cobblestone streets. Bloody spunked eco snuff queens erupt a cinema fountain of dreams. 3. Smeared raptures of rent boys haunted by the ghosts of disease, blackmailing lords and ladies of the alley-oop hepcat circuit boards. Opium tidal waves consume the scholar, buried in the endless armchair, his automaton double still drumming its name through the vault of the stars. 4. The snot-like vestigial shreds on bones of the dead museum. And that's actually a reference to the short story Calcutta, Lord of Nerves by Poppy Z. Bright. Carrying crowns of poverty, immersing suns at the bottom of the green mucked sea. And that's Samuel Beckett, the muck. Where Aleph the cryptic mirror gleams, snatched flashes of the Yellow King's barbarity, where seaweed chokes piratical eyes, and the tyrannical maidens burst through waves of multicolored wreckage. Weighed down and watching the bubble slip from her tender-cropped lips, his throat slit and dying violet, the flag of evening, her dark hair plunging into limit experience of the jacked-in goblin market. 5. Where cruelty of the church bell, book, and candle rears a skeletal mast on the bones of the ship of screams. Darkness has a specific gradient, sliced down and off through interlaced black ribbons that score through the bared breasts and raised skirts of Piccadilly harlots. That's a Bauhaus reference. The band, not the art movement. Bearing candles that wind down the scarlet streets of immensity, for hunger blares like discordant music, drums through her guts, percussive smackdown in the grave. 6. Wheels of angels fused with demons roll across the sky while we're all waiting for the gabardine swine to fly. Heavens, it seems we are polluted and a really nasty carapace yolks in our meat. The queen of the vampires is quite stylized and covets all our eyes. Skitter of guitars and dubstep children shudder, gore kids habit themselves and one another. Heaven helps those in the mirror hell of selves. Warped silver costumes adorning the ghouls with fashion's smile. A drink of sweet wine and wild cleavage yanks into place the bloated, oozing map of atrocities. That's a J.G. Ballard reference. 5, 6, 7, okay. Dramatis personae none gratify, leaving the pearl of great piss on the mistress of woes. She of the nimble fingers and toes. Her descending tongue ferrets the sorry, it's a really goofy verb here. Ferrets the abyss, because I'm thinking of the animal. Whittled bliss in starlight. Hacked mind weapons burn through systems. Punked gash in all 5 dimensions. Clench of the shield they bore you out on. The language of tombs is always rehearsed, like the triumph of death on nature's perverse. The earth moves, creatures gutted, crisped creators ripple through the wombs of the unearthed. That's my poem.
I love that. I love all the references that you made there. Those were cracking me up behind the scenes here. So it's a good thing I was muted. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, tell me before we hear from our next reader, which is going to be Pixie Bruner. Tell me a little bit about where we can find you, what you're working on, your life as a writer.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Promote yourself.
Yes, I celebrate and sing myself, like Whitman says. I've got so many things going on that it's cracking me up over here. The first thing I'd like to promote, because it's foremost in my mind, I am working on a disability rights anthology that is titled We Are Gregor, and this is something I came up with Pixie. It's a charity anthology to promote awareness of disabilities. I am disabled. I have a neurological disorder. I have a specific learning disability called dyscalculia. And we are accepting a wide range of contributions, ranging from essays, articles, short stories, poetry, and all mapping disabilities. And so that is one thing. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm finalizing the table of contents for another anthology that Pixie is involved with. Oddly enough, it's called The Junk Merchants Volume 2. And this is a literary tribute to William S. Burroughs. It features work by Poppy Z. Bright, Caitlin R. Kiernan, Jeffrey Thomas, Maxim Jakubowski, Graham Masterton, Rob Tannehill, and I are the co-editors of this monster, and it's coming out in the middle of June, I believe, at this point. And the third anthology that I'm involved with is called Hand of Doom, a literary tribute to Black Sabbath. And this is a unique anthology. All the stories are based on songs by Black Sabbath. We have Garrett Cook. We have Jayaprakash Satyamurti. We have Tony Millington. We have Stuart Giles. And this is a formidable lineup. It's the first time this has ever been done. A literary tribute to it. I know it's been other tribute anthologies have been done to, for example, David Bowie and so forth. But this is the first time that literary tribute to Black Sabbath has ever been done, and it's kind of unique. And that's also going to be dropping next month. So I'm really excited about that. And I and my co-editor J.C. Masick recently did a podcast on Stacey Lane Wilson's Rock and Roll Nightmares show to promote that book. So those are the things that I'm working on. You can check out my various, like sociopathic ramblings and complaints about my health condition, and most of the time complaining about chronic, pain on my, Alex S. Johnson accounts. I have two Facebook accounts, both under Alex S. Johnson. I have a Twitter account, and I have a third top secret Facebook account that I'm going to reveal to your listeners now. It's called Felicia Sosaria, and it's a cat. It's a cat scientist. So you can follow my adventures on those platforms.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for reading. I probably shouldn't divulge this, but I remember Black Sabbath. Oh, yes. Back in the 80s, LSD. So many memories.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But I probably shouldn't divulge that further. So.
No. Yes. Your secret is safe with us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that never happened. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm innocent. All right. Well, we are going to hear from Pixie next, and Pixie is going to unmute herself. And I just want to say,
I am unmuted.
Yes, be ready, everybody, because Pixie is a wild one.
I'm actually going to be nice tonight.
What?
I'm going to be somewhat reasonable. I'm only going to kill a few generations or off the human species tonight. Hi, I'm Pixie Bruner. I have a book of dark speculative poetry out on Angela Eureka Smith's Opportunities Press called The Body is Haunted. Linda Addison and Eugene Bacon both recommended it, which just totally floors me. I have pieces coming out soon in Dreams and Nightmares, and my second piece for Starline was just signed. I am an HWA SFPA member, and I am making my fiction debut in Junk Merchants 2 with a ridiculous piece of dysfunctional adventures amongst hardcore meth heads and heroin addicts, which I am not. And, well, I live to tell the tale of living with some and decided to write about it. So it is actually a creative nonfiction, but we're calling it fiction because life is stranger than fiction. I'm going to be reading pieces that I've never done anything with. So this is Crash Landing Area 1. Write home with centrifugal force, to scrawl with gravitas without gravity. Poem is centrifuge, to separate solids from plasma, flesh, bone, fascia from muscle and bone. Find your perfect moment to fall apart. Sever into wings and thorax. Find new life forms. Embrace having a form. Isn't it delicious? Crash down landers. Graphene insects leave you shattered like cheval mirrors, freed from ovioid shells, nearly eroded on shard blade shores, the incisors of acidic seas. Crash Landing Area 2, because it's a series. The petrichor of a space station is rain that never falls. It is unsoiled from loam, mosses, dirt, and earth. Topsoils and life blasted away in airlock decontamination procedures. The air is always metallic, silvery, but not argent upon the palate, cold as liquid nitrogen, stinging the nostrils, and strangely almost sweet. the strident, sickly micronote of ethylene glycol. Sweetness from systems and apparati would warm the mechanical environment. Recycled, refreshed, refreshing, sparkling the air like a Riesling frizzante. That omnipresent, unnatural life scent and flavor, unscrubbable by filters, flammable, hoarded, essential, precious cargo, machine made, carried in pressurized tanks and lungs. And crash landing area 3, real quick. Hiss is a dangerous sound, always. Once upon another world, it meant snakes. A shovel used to sever the bastards. You recall childhood hikes in woods before the Exodus began. But up here, it's just deep infinity and no countries. Hiss means a leak. The life raft for generations is leaking. Something, somewhere, and you rush to find the sound instead of away from. You have sealants, torches, and tools to kill that serpent trying to kill the crew in the future, but you're on the very last roll of the duct tape, holding the human universe together in interstellar space on solar sails. This time it's the water vapor condenser, but next time it may not be something comparable. Stasis pods jettison, abandoned ship. We can't breathe. As captain, you stay up in the ship. A steel coffin adrift for you alone. Frozen travelers dream eternally, potted in pod, in your wake as you sink into nothingness. And those are my crash landing arias that hopefully will be published soon. Thank you very much.
Oh, awesome. I'm almost scared to ask this, Pixie, but what inspires you? Oh, wait, maybe I don't want to ask that. Can I back out?
I wanted to write dark speculative sci-fi, and that's what happened when I decided to go sci-fi.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, you'll be seeing those, just warning, heads up.
I will be happy to see those.
They are all under 40 lines. They're
be
my shortest poems ever.
awesome. I will be happy to see those. And also, tell us again real quick where we can find you, what you might have coming up. I know you kind of said some of it before, but just as a refresher.
We Are Gregor. I will be in Junk Merchants 2 on Nocturnicorn Press. I am editing Nature Triumphs, co-editor with Allison Armstrong on, oh God, I forgot the press, sorry. But I'm in the slush puddles with that. I have poems coming out in Dreams and Nightmares and Starline soon. I am in Extrasensory Perception, an anthology of speculative excess on Angry Gables Press. I'm also going to be in their Catabolic Circus annual anthology. I'm working on my second book manuscript. I am very, 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 very busy. I can be found on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Moky Gray, MOKEYGREY, Facebook, Pixie Bruner, and I have a Substack, Pixie Bruner, PIXIE, Bruner, BRUNER, .substack.com. And my latest book is on Authortunities, my first full-length collection of dark speculative poetry about the theme of the body is haunted. And that is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart.com even, and all fine literature purveyors everywhere online.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you.
I'll stick around if you want me to go again.
I probably will, because we don't have a hugely packed house in behind the scenes. So, yeah, anybody who wants to read again, I think that we will be having another round. And hopefully I'll figure out how to use this technology. I said I'm a poet, right? And a writer, not like a techie person.
So can I? So quick, Angela. Can I write sci-fi?
Can you can you write sci-fi? Yeah. All right, we'll go there.
I'm trying. Bye.
Bye. All right, next we are going to hear, this is a super special treat. He is the
Yep.
father of space and time. So, if you are not familiar,
Magazine, space and time itself.
no, don't spoil it yet. Gordon, I just like saying you're the father of space and time.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. Let me pin you so you are going to be center screen. And, but yeah, you technically are the father of space and time. I'm just saying.
Yep.
All right, I am ready to hear whatever you have to read.
Yeah, I pulled out a couple of short pieces because one thing I hate doing is reading partial stories. So start with one called Old Flames of the Best, which actually has been posted as a podcast, but has not been in print yet. So anybody who's interested. Nicole smiled, revealing crooked teeth. Today marked their 2-year anniversary. Kevin had promised her something special, and he never disappointed. She used her elbow stumps to pull herself as erect as possible in the hospital-style bed where she'd spent so much of those years. The windowless room was stark, as usual, undecorated save for those bright red and gold crepe paper ribbons that Kevin had hung everywhere, even along the edge of the bed. One more thoughtful gesture among thousands over the past 24 months. Oh, she hated Kevin when they first met. Wanted to kill him. His tender care won her over. He spent hours tending to her injuries, feeding her, bathing her, checking for bed sores, ensuring the sheets were always clean, the room temperature comfortable. In but a few weeks, she went from wanting to kill Kevin to merely resenting him, then tolerating his attentions, appreciate him, and finally loving the man. She could not now imagine life without him, even though he'd abducted her and cut off all her limbs. Problem, love? Nicole's crushed vocal cords kept her voice a perpetual low whisper. It hurt to speak, but she managed to convey concern. Kevin stopped massaging her atrophied muscles. He set the open bottle of rubbing alcohol on the side table. There's no keeping secrets between us, is there? He replied, offering a warm smile. She pursed her lips, blew him a kiss. He sighed. They're closing in. They? My enemies. I can stay here no longer. But where will we go? Kevin could not disguise the sadness in his eyes. No, Nicole would have screamed, if she could. We stay together. Always. That is not practical, my darling. Oh, have no fear. I will see you taken care of before I leave. Nicole's knee stubs battered the mattress. No one else. No, Kevin agreed. No one will tend to you the way I do. The syringe of pentobarbital had already been prepared. Us, Nicole responded, forever. Now let us dwell on the moment, Kevin advised. The future is not yet here. He turned away, walking to the sideboard at the far wall. There he opened a box and took out a small mousse cake, Nicole's favorite. He moved the dessert onto a real plate, placed the latter on a tray, inserted 2 candles into the rich icing, and lit them. Behind him, Nicole continued to pummel the ends of her knees and elbows against her mattress. Kevin hoped she did not accidentally throw herself onto the floor again. As a precaution, he pocketed the syringe. Happy second anniversary, darling, Kevin said, returning to her side. In honor of our years together. Forever, Nicole whispered. Tears filled her eyes. Kevin shook his head. He saw his farewell gesture was futile. He started to set the tray on the side table, bring his hand for the syringe. Nicole's elbow stump struck the edge of the tray, flipping it into the air. Kevin fell backwards. His skull cracked against the cement floor. The candles continued burning as the cake struck the floor. Rubbing alcohol spilled from the open bottle onto the man's unconscious body, adding much-needed fuel to their flames. Nicole rolled onto her right side to peer over the edge of the bed. Her lover's body began to smolder and burn. Together, Nicole whispered. She issued the closest thing to a satisfied laugh her damaged throat could manage. Her eyes widened as the constellation reached the gray paper ribbons that dangled from her bed. Many more flammable ribbons encircled the windowless room. Nicole whispered what would prove her final word. Forever. And that cheerful note.
I love it.
Hmm.
That took a very, very dark. Well, that started out dark
Wow.
and then took a very dark, unsurprised. I don't know where to go with that. Like that was a holy hell twist.
Did that take up the whole 3 minutes? Because I have a little drab I could throw in.
No, go ahead and read that.
Hey,
Wow.
Bigly. My, Granny, what big eyes you have. Dr. Jane Callie moved her medical pen light left to right, then back again. Granny Lupus's hazel orb stared back, unblinking. The doctor looked to the side. And what big ears! I'd bet you've overheard many a conversation you ought not to have over your lifetime. Mrs. Lupus would not admit to it at this stage. And those teeth, so large and sharp, in such good condition for someone your age. Dr. Callie began counting, then stopped. Time for that later. The other body parts would need larger containers than these 3 flasks. That's it.
I'm sorry, I was sitting there like mesmerized, waiting for more. How many
This-
words is that?
To hear.
And then, well, it's a 100-word drabble, so you
Oh,
have to
right. Okay,
put
yeah.
everything in.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you said you were looking for a home, Gordon, and I happen to know of a home.
The first story, yeah.
Yeah. I just happen to know of a home that will be publishing this fall. So, if you feel like sending it, I feel like you know where the address is since you started the magazine.
I think I can find that. Want me
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you want me just email it to you?
Yeah, just email it to me. So we're
Mhm.
doing it a little bit differently now. How I used to do it was make myself crazy by doing everything for the very next issue, and now we're leaping it so we have time to let the artists work and you know I don't be crazy. Well, I will probably anyways, but you know it helps.
I'm in no hurry. So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
if you let me know later where to send it.
Yeah. I'll email you after this. But no, that was awesome. Very creepy. As I like. I need to learn how to use OBS better and get a second monitor because as I was sitting there watching YouTube to try to see if the stream had updated, I realized I was showing everybody, instead of Gordon's icon, I was actually showing everybody the stream and me watching to see if it would update. But then it kind of did that whole time loop thing because it's never going to update because I'm watching myself 3 minutes, 30 seconds ago. So I apologize about that. Yeah, but I'll figure it out. So, and I thank everybody for being here to figure it out with me. And if anybody wants to read another poem, I'm ready for a second round. I do have one because when Alex said that about the eco horror, I was like, ooh, I just wrote one of those. So I've really been getting into eco horror lately.
Submit it. We will print it. All proceeds go to the Nature Conservancy.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And that's coming out in June, right?
That is the deadline is July 15th.
Okay. All right. Well, I will read something that I just wrote, and it's called Perpetual Snow Days. And it's got a really long title, and I'm trying to look on my phone, so that's what we'll call it, Perpetual Snow Days, and I can't remember what the rest of it is. So, When hell freezes over. Oh, this is an ekphrastic, by the way. So the image that inspired this was just snowy mountain. So, and this was written for Ladies of Horror, which does this every month. When hell freezes over, as my granddad used to say, and as a kid in the sweltering, bone-melting hot pot of inferno left to us by my granddad and those of his generation, I frequently wished it would. I'd never seen snow. I couldn't imagine anything but the baking pavement that left tar burns on the soles of our feet when we dared to run across the road. The corporations turned us to corpses, sold us out, led us to believe the next gadget would save us, not from anything that mattered, like war, warming, and wrath, but from boredom. We sold ourselves out for entertainment, clicked the checkbox, said yes to the cookies, and gave full permissions to turn our world into an easy-bake oven. And when they suggested the next greatest thing to solve all our problems, you'd think we would have learned, but shooting silver dust into clouds seemed so exciting at the time. And then hell did freeze over. The silver linings tarnished to dust, blocking the sun. Thankfully, the heat dropped, and we cheered the plunging mercury as it kept plunging. When the first snow fell, it was a miracle, chilly manna from on high, and we made snow cones, not minding how the silver dust turned our tongues gray, then our skin. We only cared that the sky was gray, global warming was trending down, and our thoughts turned back to letting someone else run the show until everything went off air, and we looked up and out the windows to see we were on permanent holiday, every day a snow day, and like a string of old Christmas lights we started going dark, one by one by one. Leave it to humans. We always fix what we break. Humans leave it be. And that was another high bun. And I'm going to go back into the back room here, and let's see, I think we'll go just in the same order, I think. Go with Alex. Alex, do you want to read again?
Absolutely. And I just wanted to it's remarkable how everything has sort of come together as a confluence of minds talking about the same issues. I actually first, if I'm not mistaken, I first encountered Pixie Bruner because I was originally the third editor of Pixie, correct me if I'm wrong, it's now called Nature's Triumphs.
Nature Triumphs.
Nature Triumphs. Okay, excuse me. Nature Triumphs. And it is being published by Casey Hill of Dark Moon Rising Publications. And she is the publisher. What else? I was originally going to publish it through Nocturnicorn Books, and I had to drop out because I had too many commitments. So that, as a matter of fact, Nature Triumphs is also how I met my co-editor on Hand of Doom, a literary tribute to Black Sabbath, a gentleman by the name of J.C. Masick. And he has a story. Now I forget. Pixie, what's the title of J.C.
Immune
Masick's?
Swarm.
In what is it?
Immune Swarm.
Immune Swarm. He has such a way with language.
It's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. And I just wanted to say, before I read this new thing, that that because it's all related actually, that JC sent me. He's finalizing a story for Hand of Doom, which is based on, I believe it's based on the Black Sabbath song Megalomania. And as a Black Sabbath expert, I should know off the top of my head what album this is from, Megalomania. But anyway, it's a very lush sort of hybrid of a lot of the themes. Like, it reminds me most of, it's a sort of like a hybrid of Jeffrey Thomas and Harlan Ellison. And I'm not going to give too much away, but basically, and this also maps on to your Angela's your poem that you read, your eco horror poem, because and as well as Pixie's, because of the crash landing poems, because we're all talking about essentially the same objective phenomena, which is that the Earth is in danger of dying. It is the Earth is dying, and we don't have much time left. William S. Burroughs described it as a sort of like a ship that we keep knocking holes in the hull, and the next step is outer space, and that was Burroughs said that back in, I believe, the 80s. He was very concerned about ecocide, and this poem that I'm going to read was actually inspired by a story that Jeffrey Thomas kindly gave me permission to republish. I think it's a rare reprint, so I'm very fortunate to be able to have a Jeffrey Thomas story. I first encountered Jeffrey's work because he was reading at he did a reading that's on YouTube, and I recommend everybody who's watching this to please check this out. He did a reading with Caitlin R. Kiernan from his novel. I keep forgetting the title, Boneyard. And when I watched this thing, I was just so amazed by his gift for language, his gift for extrapolation, and is sort of like, I think of his genre as biopunk, but I believe he created weird punk, if I'm not mistaken. And so I frankly pillaged the concept of his story for a story that I wrote in a collaboration with at a collaborative series with Bertie Walker, called Effed Up Fairy Tales. And so that was the adventures of Princess Cherry Pop of the Kingdom of Euphoria. And it's got Garrett Cook, it's got Rice Hughes, it's got a bunch of really great, phenomenal people, and that has never had an audience. So if you want some really morbid, weird stuff, it's like Effed Up Fairy Tales. Betty Rocksteady has a story in there. We've got, and there were 12 volumes, and nobody ever read it or reviewed it. So Effed Up Fairy Tales. I don't think I can say the word on the air. Maybe I can, but so this story, this poem is called "We Are Gregor the Gregorine," and it was inspired by Jeffrey Thomas's Punktown series of novels and stories. So without further ado, bringing it up here. We are Gregor the Gregorine, with a tip of the hat to Jeffrey Thomas. I am Gregor's lost sons sinking below the infernal Urizen. Urizen is from William Blake. Urizen is a demon who splits off from eternity and basically enslaves humanity with science and reason. I am the Lord of Hades, stuck to Gregor's back in place of the wings she lost. I am the temperamental siren, Gregoria Batshit Mahalia Jackson, here to raise some furries and furies. I am sex-starved galactic oversoul, Queen Gregorina the accordion-hearted, with bosoms to bury ya. I am the carrion thousand-yard flash flesh, flash, 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 flesh, flesh. Maybe that should be flashbulb, flashbulb fresh flesh of Gregor's. Gregor's scraped off a liminal portal adjacent to Punktown. Easy for me to say. I am the spectral crypt of Gregor the Unsound. I am dearly and deeply departed King Gregorossa the Bold drove armies over a cliff rather than commit more war on innocence. And that is a reference to a poem by Ron Whitehead, the U.S. National Beat Laureate, lifetime Beat Poet Laureate. And he has been nominated for the Pulitzer Prize and the Nobel Prize for Literature, and I'm very fortunate to have Ron Whitehead as in Junk Merchants 2. He has an interview with William S. Burroughs that was that he did in 1996. It was the second to last interview that was ever conducted with William Burroughs, and I'm deeply grateful to Ron Whitehead for giving me the opportunity to publish that. And that is the references to Ron Whitehead's. It's a sort of a song and a poem called. I refuse, because he's from Louisville, Kentucky, where his friend Hunter S. Thompson was from Louisville, Kentucky. So he's a native son of Louisville, Kentucky. And without further ado, the next line. I am a fresh minted microchip implanted in the all Gregor brain. I am the high sustain of Gregor amplifiers, make murder one sound like a whimper than a bang. Maybe I should say than a gangbang. That is actually a reference to the band Motorhead, which I am a huge fan of, and I interviewed Motorhead, Lemmy Kilmister, the late great Lemmy Kilmister, who was also a genius lyricist, and Murder One was the name of his amplifier. Whimper Than a Bang, or a gangbang, I should say, is obviously a reference to T.S. Eliot. I am the beginning of the first microzonal instantiation of the Gregor One project in a pocket dimension. I am the shades of Gregor driven far from Newton's tree. I am time-elapsed Gregor descending a staircase in outer space with minutes to go. That's from Marcel Duchamp's Cubist masterpiece, Nude Descending a Staircase. Minutes to Go is a reference to a book by William S. Burroughs. I am Hollywood Gregor tending his throne on the seat of cold eternities. I am the bees stung kisses tasted reluctantly, then fiercely, then nevermore. I am the gate, the portal, the tomb, and the maternity planet, Pope Gregor the Dead. I am the bread of Jesus. Gregor died and resurrected on the tree of life. The tree of life is a concept from Jewish mysticism, the Kabbalah. And this was a concept that was used by David Bowie in his song Station to Station. The reason I was thinking about the Tree of Life and the Kabbalah is because of my friendship with Carrie Lee Chrome, who was she's best known as the founder of the band The Runaways, like Cherry Bomb and stuff. She wrote Secrets, California Paradise, and and Waiting for the Night, I believe, among many other songs that were on the Runaways' first album. And it's a long story that we don't have time for, how I met Carrie Lee Chrome. But she is actually working on a story that will be the first story that she ever wrote, somewhat like Pixie. It'll be her first published story. It's a horror story that's based on the Black Sabbath song Children of the Grave. And she uses the concept of the Tree of Life, and in particular the roots of the Tree of Life are called the Qliphoth, and they correspond to hell and Satan. And the concept of the Qliphoth is that in order to transcend your mortal state and go beyond the flesh, you're children of the grave, right? Like the Sabbath song, Children of the Grave, which was about nuclear war. We need to sort of transcend our bodies. We have to go through hell before we get to heaven, essentially, to make it a little bit banal. And so, without further ado, this is the next line. It's almost like I have like a theatrical curtain I have to raise before every new line here. I am the Qliphoth, art realistic, atomistic hell roots of Gregor, never a beggar, always a wealthy man. Wealthy man, obviously, Rolling Stones, Sympathy for the Devil. I am providential Gregor, unsealing the lost art of sunshine. I am Uncle Sam's plan of assembly line Gregors. I like that one. I am the slaughtered plants of Gregors and biopunk rhizomes. I am Gnome Gregor, hunched over a map to never. I am forever. That's it. That's my poem.
I was waiting. I was like, he's going to have another cliff note.
Yes.
I was just going to say, having all the footnotes in there, it makes it for this really interesting experience, because then I'm like, you're immersed in the poem, but then you're finding out all these little details from the poet's experience. That was interesting.
Right. And this is actually, I sent this to Jeffrey Thomas, and his suggestion was that I write a short story inspired by every line. And I was like, okay. And I write a short story collection where all of the stories would be based on a single line from this poem. And I said, okay, I'll write it only if you write the preface. And he said, okay. So that's awesome, man. He is one of the greatest living dark fiction writers, we have. Man, awesome. I can't believe my good fortune.
Yeah.
And so his suggestion for the title, Tales from the Gregorverse. So I've approached Derek Hussey of Hippocampus Books, and so he's going to take a look at basically S.T. Joshi has a backlog of stuff, and so by the time that I finish that book, Tales from the Gregorverse, he'll be ready to take a look at it. So
awesome.
Awesome. Feelers crossed.
Yeah, well, good luck with
that. Thank you.
It's awesome. All right, I think we're gonna have another round. Let me see. Is Pixie? Does Pixie want to read again? All right, let me get you up here. And pen. All right, and let me put you on screen. So many buttons back here.
Am I live?
You are live. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to be reading a piece that was accepted into Misery Tourism's CNF Times world building piece, and it's called The Hermit and the Moon, my birth tarot cards. Tarot Redactyl. You might have very well been one of the deaths of me. I have a marauder's map of navigating secrecy and solitude, hand-drawn over my many lifelines, tattooed upon my palm in the broken lines. I just need the lantern to guide my way through their landscapes. So bland, infused with essential oil cocktails, diluted, imperfect. First thought I was crooked, as if my head's on askew, tilted quizzically, but set to plumb, the odd angles of all set to safer 90s and Colt 45 degrees, so it won't seem so askew. The film tweaked in editing, so everything is plumb and square. A movie set back with stage pieces based on the clickbait of Better Homes and Burdens. It's all so beige, sage, neutral, and faux. You might as well have been one of the deaths of me. I know the secret desires and errors, clasped like rosaries by widows at matins in midweek. Unrepentant, untethered, I'm undaunted by shame. I need barely enough light to see by. I go by feel, fondling my way through everything. I go by my feels, all of them, all the time, ceaselessly. I have answered the right questions of the enigmas, danced in drunken riddle waltzes with the Sphinx as the sun rose over alien horizons, been torn apart by Mads, Puritans, real narcissists, and been fucked well by more than a couple madmen, sociopaths, one court established even, and schizophrenics. It's the unreal that's the most real, the secret worlds inside our skulls, the nooks and crannies of gray matter and their mysteries within. The only absolutes. There's no scientifically unprovable absolutes. Gray infinity and gray matter. You may as well be one of the deaths of me. I love the beauty of the shadows, the sacredness of profanity, the storage under still the storms under still clouds, the tempest in every teapot and electric kettle. I am the hermit under the moon, huntress and hunter, Salome dancing flamenco in the courtyard beneath a night sky on fire, her teeth castanets, and the head of John the Baptist is an unwieldy maraca. Night sky with strange stars, night sky without stars. I reflect my own light, a shadow draped ruin lit by a single flame. You may well be the death of me. I am a keeper of secrets. I consume them up. Leave nary a crumb of the motherfucking reverend mother of the tea set. I shall be mother and eat the crumbs you leave behind. Whatever you spilled, sucked up, eagerly slurped up like a shop vac of consolation, empathy, and sympathy. Each drop, each speck subsumed in substance. None of it shall ever escape my confidentiality. I am a black hole. I absorb, I draw in. Then I encode it, encrypt it. It is unbreakable in my enigma body machine. I keep all secrets. I hear all confessions. I listen. Whack me with a hammer. Hear that dull, full impact. I am the sounding board. You possibly will be the death of me. If I gifted shared intimacy, you are special, you are rare, you are mine in the feast, provided you never corner me or block all the egresses. I am relentless, and I will wake you from sleep, sucking out your soul the only forgivable way to wake someone from a deep sleep, like a succubi crouched between your thighs. I am the haven of small heavens in the day trip spell. I am the port of call me. I am the power in the glory hole. You will be the death of me. I may obfuscate at times, be obtuse, oblique, and German expressionist, Langian even, Buenian. Black and white on my worst days, on my best I'm soft, bare, vulnerable, porcelain, fragile, crystal stemware, delicate. So just keep that between us. I have secrets too, and puzzle boxes I want solved, so someone gets the redacted treasure within, beyond the countless panels, levers, labyrinth, sliders, word games, quadratic lacquered equations, and cloisonne traps. Give me one precious tender moment, or a good line, a cigarette, an ice cold brandy Alexander, bonus points for pay. with dark chocolate or coffee strip rimmed and drizzled, and I can survive on it as week. One such as these keep me alive. A big hug and a bigger one and a bear hug and smothering and a cuddle and a big long snuggle on the couch, blissfully exchanging without a word our obvious psyche connection electric. Within that sense, a holiday hug for me, if you can stand that sort of thing, along with reality skewing wishes, cleaving your perceptions unmistakably from any of mine. Well, except that one time, and I accept the bed was filthy and sand sheet or most stuffing, and that we, so passionately, or perhaps desiring dumb as reflex, right after you called work in July, swelter sun beating through the open blind windows, encrusted with dust, damped and danked into glue unstoppably into the evening, the sun below the lowest tenements. I cannot and I will not accept that neither of us ever noticed we were doing it on top and below and around, and soon covered with a fresh pile of butter soft dog shit until a knock at the door some unknowable time later. So I'll share that, my limited, partially unaccepted, mannerless manner, as both a rest and as before and remaining, I wish not even parallel, I hope to be relaxing. I swear that never happened except for in his wonderful head. I never even kissed him. Not once in all of his years, all the pity for it. God, it would have been spectacular and violent and beautiful and incendiary, magnificently self-destructive. But there were 800.4 miles between us when he wrote this, and I had not seen him since the 20th century. Damn it, I would have loved it than him. Wowzers, powerful expurgation, vomitus maximus. What kind of tea were you waiting for, sweet holy Moses of fire and joyance? What did you do after this? Is there glistening viscera in which one can see the reflection of your unblinking vulva? This is my soul food. I'd have eaten him alive and gone back for dessert. You, especially you of the insane letters, might still very well have been one of the destiny. But Hineni, I'm ready, my lord, Leonard Cohen. I always want it darker, and I am the lady of darkness and flame. I'm your girl. Escape from the Magdalene laundries, dancing in someone's forest green suit I rented for campus drag day, with a blowjob down the college halls forever. I feel you through the years and miles, and want to hold you regardless. Moth, flame, hook, eye, damnation. Sing it along with me. The Aries hermit, moon rising, and the Sagittarius moon. Agape, agape, gawking at a gap between the universes. A gap, no thigh gap ever. A poetess. That's it.
I love it. I will never get unblinking vulva out of my head, by the way. I love how that ended with the agape.
This was a found poetry dialogue between me and the writer who actually was the person who is the victim or other person involved in the Truly Dangerous Liaison, published by Crystal Lake, and in my own, and The Body is Haunted. And these were excerpts from his emails to me that I put in this. He actually said these things, and that was an expurgated because I couldn't read all of them.
Yeah, that's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, that misery tourism, and someone's going to be using that to create a world from, and I'll be taking one of their pieces and creating a world from that.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that because I'm still trying to catch up with the agape. I love whatever that line was. I love agape, agape,
gawking at a gap between the universes.
Yes.
A gap, no thigh gap ever. A poetess.
That is, as a fan of alliteration, I am like just a sucker, and so I was just like, wait, what was that?
Thank you. Yeah, it's just a fun piece that I wrote when I found out my birth tarot cards were the Hermit and the Moon, so apt.
Yeah.
So thank you. I enjoyed reading. This was fun. Pieces that haven't been submitted or been abused yet. Thank you so much for letting me at least go sideways on this piece.
Yeah, you know what? If you can't go sideways as a poet, where else can you go sideways?
I'm always sideways. And yes, everything in that thing was true.
Awesome. All right, I
Yep.
think
Bye.
let's. Hmm. Oh.
I'm muting myself. Bye. It's time for Gordon, for whom the Linzer Awards is to go again, hopefully.
Yep, I'm going to. Gordon, are you going to class us up? Are you ready for one more?
Yeah. How much time do you want to give me?
You know
It
what?
sounds like you're doing.
As much as you want.
Well, I don't want to do that, but
As
I was
much as you
looking.
want until my midnight, which is in 45 minutes.
Hmm,
All right, let's get Gordon on
yeah.
here.
All right. Do something because I was looking at all my shorter pieces I was pulling up, and they're all pretty dark. So just a little bit lighter, not too much. Called Dark Eyes. Leon Blakemore stands and moves to the front of the stage. His microphone is set up left of center. He fingers his trumpet valves with one hand, adjusts the stand with the other. His eyes scan the back room at Jay's Jive. He is pleased. The dance floor comfortably has room for a score of couples, half a dozen more if they're moving to a slow number. Some patrons take advantage of the pause to drift towards a small bar near the entrance, or the tables against the walls on either side of the room, tables barely large enough to balance a couple drinks on. A mustached man in a cobalt blue suit embraces a short-haired woman wearing a matching gown. They continue to sway in the momentary absence of music. The others on the floor await the next tune. Their eyes focus on the band in general, on Leon specifically. The lights dim, giving those eyes a dark cast, appropriately. Leon thinks the muted light makes the room feel cozier, more inviting. His coal black suit and tie adds to the warm atmosphere. His pants show no sign of creasing, though he'd been sitting through most of the session. The club's resident big band, Casey's Coven, consists of a dozen players, plus their leader, Bill Casey. The stage is just large enough to hold them all. Each musician is given at least one chance to stand out every night. This is Leon's. The trumpet player barely notices Bill Casey's cue. He knows the timing. He raises an instrument. The first slow, mournful notes of Ochi Chirnia drift into the room. A few couples on the dance floor don't know Leon's version and assume he is leading into a slow dance. They pace themselves accordingly. 16 bars in, Leon pauses for half a beat, takes a deep breath. The drummer bangs out a familiar rat-a-tat. Leon raises the trumpet again. His new tempo is dramatically faster. Two more couples drop out, including the cobalt blue duo. Those who remain embrace the new beat. One gentleman shouts out enthusiastic approval. The romantic Russian tune is Leon's favorite. He combines a swing version of Jack Teagarden and Harry Manone with his own improvisations. His fingers blur, his cheeks bulge, the tempo accelerates. His fellow brass players step in for half a bar here and there whenever Leon pauses for breath, but otherwise stay in the background, supporting him as he supported their solos. The low lights seem to pulse in time with the new rhythm. Some notes echo through the room, feeding on themselves. Others are absorbed by dark red wall curtains, bringing out the deeper features of his performance. Leon plays his trumpet. Leon plays more than his trumpet. He plays the entire room, the thick curtains, the framed black and white photograph of newly elected President Kennedy with Martin Luther King Jr., the candlelit tables, the glasses filled with varying levels and shades of whiskey. He plays the couples on the dance floor. He plays the people sitting out the number at the tables on the bar. They are compelled to turn towards him. He plays the waitstaff and the bartender, the busboys, and the coat check girl. Leon is in control. He builds to a satisfying crescendo, lets it out in one great burst. A single pair of hands clap. That's enough, Leon. The voice is matter of fact, not threatening, not pleading, still requiring compliance. That last note hangs in the empty room, unsatisfied. It wants to do more, lead into another song, but that won't be happening tonight. Leon is content with what time he can get. A solo here, backfill there, one song, often two, three on a really slow night. It's enough to sustain him for now. It has to be enough. Thank you, Derek. The words are slightly slurred as Leon acknowledges Derek Jones, son of Club's original owner. He does not resent Derek's interruption. He understands the situation. Jay Jonas, his late father, was the sole owner. Derek answers to two partners. The numbers are down. Many nights, like tonight, Derek closes down the bar on his own. A lesser man might bar Leon from Jay's jive outright. Leon adjusts faded green sweatpants. He bends knees, opens the instrument case at his feet. His shaking hands remove the trumpet's mouthpiece, which he places in a side pocket. He wipes moist palms on his equally gray, equally faded sweatshirt. His Parkinson's is worsening. The hyoscyamine treatments at the clinic on Lennox help a little, not as much as they did. Leon glances around the empty back room. Dusty chairs are stacked on dusty tables, pushed against the walls. A single frayed curtain brushes scuffed floor tiles beyond the bar. Bare brick is exposed. The King Kennedy photograph, framed in black, hangs askew. The air is chill. Save for a lone security light above the main door, darkness rules performance space. That darkness allows Leon to see what he needs to see, what others cannot see. Please tell me you're aware we're the only two here, Leon? Derek's tone almost sounds like a plea. The trumpeter forced poorly responsive facial muscles into a smile. You ask me that every time, Derek. Yes, I know I'm alone here. We're alone. We are now, anyway. I'm just checking. I know your condition. Well, it can affect the brain. The first time I found you tootling your horn back here, I had to drag you out. Your reaction at the time was unseemly. Derek grabs a towel hanging from his waist, wipes his neck. Oh, I'm grateful for your understanding of my condition, Mr. Jonas. I was unaware of my issues then, early stages, undiagnosed, unmedicated. Being able to spend time back here actually does more good than the drugs. Well, Papa would have done the same. As long as you don't do it more than once or twice a month, and then only near closing time on slow nights when we don't have a trio or a private event, because I can't afford to drive customers away. Oh, I know the rules. No, Casey's Coven was one of our biggest draws a decade ago, when my father was alive. Derek pauses. I could let you spend even more time back here on off nights if you were quiet, if you didn't disturb the customers out front, if you left that trumpet. Oh, you said so many times. I can't just leave it at the why. The smoothness in my hands, the warm metal against my lips, that's what resonates. Or if you didn't actually try to play it, well, that's a part of it. Anything less, your kindness would be wasted. My fingers may no longer be agile, but the memory is. Derek points to the case. Have you considered using a mute? I see you have a couple. Oh, I can't hold the cup in place anymore. Leon stretches out a trembling hand, underscoring his point. And a straight mute makes high notes too piercing. That's wrong for the song. Leon is all too aware that, due to shaky fingering, less flexible muscles, uneven breathing, what he currently produces with a trumpet can barely be called music. On this stage, however, fingering valves, manipulating mouthpiece with lips, he hears Ochichurnia as he used to play it. What it was, not what it is. He closes the case, struggles with the clasps. Derek steps forward to help. Leon shakes his head, finally snapping them shut. I sound like I'm grandstanding, don't I? A little. I understand, though. I wish the club could afford a regular band still. Instead of the occasional trio or solo act, you could relive your career more vicariously, hang with old friends. Leon doesn't answer. Jonas waves at the gloomy space. This room's overdue for renovation. Money's just too tight. Days Drive is a shadow of the heyday, as is the neighborhood. You heard what the church is doing to the Lincoln Center? This room's good enough for me, Derek. I understand why you want to fix it up, draw in more customers, private events. But the acoustics are pretty good, right? That's what draws it for you? Leon tucks the instrument case under his right arm to minimize his shaking. He takes one last look past Eric across the dance floor. The couples hold their positions, waiting, hoping for an equally lively encore. An encore that will not be played. Not tonight. Yes, Leon pretends to agree. The acoustics. Derek meets Leon's eyes. Leon seems to look through him. Derek shrugs. Time to close up. Leon nods. He moves past Derek. The trumpet case rattles slightly. His steps are small, deliberate. He passes through the front room with its larger bar, steps outside, turns toward the YMCA. His room is on the 5th floor. In better days, he used the stairs. Now he takes the elevator. Leon is very, very tired. Thank you.
Wow. That was amazing, Gordon. That was so poignant and sad, and I could just see every piece of that.
I'm very glad to hear that. And I would want to mention, Pixie mentioned somebody who's I've known for decades, and you know too, because she's still connected with space and time. She's Linda Addison.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to give her a shout out.
Yeah, good Linda. I mean, I want to say, like, for anybody who doesn't know, but who doesn't know Linda, she's brought so many poets, and she is like a huge support for the community at large. I cannot say enough good things. She's actually one of the reasons why I agreed to take on Space and Time, was because Linda was part of it, and I knew her from before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in a writing group together, so that made a lot of fun too.
Hey, isn't that writing group still going, Sith?
The name is still there, but we're not actually meeting anymore. Every once in a while, one of us will post something. Here, let me see what you like. You like that story? But it's not a formal meeting group anymore. And a lot of us, like Linda, aren't even in the New York area anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of good things that came out of that group, though. They're still continuing.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for letting me be a part of this. This has been a lot of fun. I like meeting the other two readers, and I look forward to being here again. Maybe a couple of weeks from now, I'll bring out something new.
Yeah, absolutely. And by then, I will hopefully have my tech skills improved a little bit, because I will say technologically, this was like a little bit very rough, but the poetry and the stories were good. So that's what I hope will count.
That's what really matters.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It was an honor to read at the same event with you, Mr. Lenzer. It really was.
Yeah. It is very much, you can't always say that you read with the father of space and time. Literally.
No, I am an awe and Twitter pated, so yeah.
I don't have a website that I generally use, but I do use Facebook, so you can always track me down there.
Awesome. And I'm also going to be doing bios and links. Please feel free to share poets and authors, share anything you want in the comment section. Not the live chat, because it disappears after this, but the comments, so people that watch this afterwards can find you and find your work. And with that, I think we're done. Hopefully next week will be a little bit smoother, but we will be doing it next week, 9 o'clock Eastern. And anybody who wants to read will find the chat clicked at the top, pinned at the top of the live chat, and you can come in and read whatever you want. So, well, I mean, I guess within reason. I'll get myself in trouble there. But with
Once
that,
you've got it posted,
do what?
once you've got it posted, let me know and I'll post it on my Facebook page.
Okay, yeah, all right, sounds good. And I'm going to email you about that story right after this.
That's it. I'll keep
Yeah.
that too long and okay.
Hopefully some crash landings will see space and time.
Yeah, I think so. I think this might happen. So, thank you. Anybody who wants to find out about the Rattlecast or any other poet events, I'm starting to include all the open mics I can find and opportunities. That link is in the description below. You can also catch up on the grants and any other opportunities, open submission calls, closing submission calls, all those good things that we need in a weekly calendar, and that link is in the description. And otherwise, I hope you will come read with us next week.
Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, and I just wanted to say that that was an absolute honor and a pleasure to be reading with Mr. Gordon Linsner, the father of space and time. I mean, I'm overwhelmed by this opportunity with you, with Pixie. It's just this. I'll experience this experience is something that I will treasure. You know, I will treasure.
Awesome. Well, you know what? You know what you can do, though, Alex? You can you can do it all again next week.
Oh, okay.
So we
Damn
have,
it!
we
Damn
have
it!
a weekly treasure.
Okay.
I don't know if Gordon
I
will
can't be here
here.
next week, but I will show up whenever I can.
Yeah, I was going to say I can't promise for Gordon, but I can promise that I'll be here. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for reading. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and being in the audience. And thank you for everybody who's watching this after the fact. And I'll see y'all next Saturday.
Grab some paper, grab your pen, open opportunities, and you can begin. When you exercise your rights and get published, you may change. Write your own path, both wonderful and strange, with opportunities.